whilst the Bundesliga might be over for another season, the rest of Europe, well, in fact the world football, that carries on. And actually, we've got an all-English final to preview and predict a scoreline to. What could that be? We've already had the FA Cup final, I can hear you saying. That was won by Crystal Palace. Philip Glasner, ex-manager of RB Leipzig. And before that, Rieder. And just to clap it in again, SVR Rieder, and there's a scarf. This one here, look, that one there. I went to see them in the Austrian countryside. They've just been promoted to the other Bundesliga. That's the Bundesliga in Austria. So they'll be playing teams like RB Salzburg next season. Clap that in, SVR Reid. Anyway, this all-English final that I hinted at is, of course, the 2025 Europa League final, where other North London teams are available. Tottenham play the other half of Manchester, not City, but they play Manchester United in the glorious Basque Country region of Spain, in Bilbao at the San Mamés Stadion. That's on Wednesday, May 21st. Excited for that one. Now, you're probably asking the same question as what we did. How on earth have two sides that are on fucking terrible form managed to get into a Europa League final? But before we get to that, let's just address that elephant in the room. Here you go, look. This is, and this hasn't been photoshopped. Do not adjust your sets. This is the Premier League table for this season. And yes, Manchester United are there in 16th, and below them are I say our because we're closet gooners, our North London rivals Tottenham. They're in 17th. Yeah, and it is, by his own admission, the Portuguese manager who was brought in to replace Erik ten Hag. We are being the worst team maybe in the history of Manchester United. Now, one thing I do admire about Ruben Amorim is his honesty, his transparency, which is matched by his opposite number, g'day, hi mate, by the cross between Batman and Russell Crowe. It's Ange Postecoglou, right? I only win things on my second season. Let's just hope that doesn't come back to bite him in the ass. Yeah, I like the transparency of the two managers. And just to explore this sentiment from Ruben Amorim, this is the horrible stats behind Man United's season. Fewest wins, only 10. I mean, when was this drawn up? Wins 10. Oh, it's present, so it's last few days, obviously, yeah. Fewest wins, the previous record, an unwanted record, by the way, was in the 21-22 season when they managed 16. Fewest points on the board, 39. Their lowest was 58 points. That was in that same season. Most defeats, 18 so far. Still got a game to go. That game is against Villa, who are pushing for Champions League and are in really good form. So that could well be another defeat in that column. The worst was not last year, the year before, when Erik ten Hag came in. That was 14 defeats. But don't forget, Erik ten Hag in his first season finished third with Manchester United and won the Carabao Cup. We love the Carabao Cup here. D-list energy drink. Don't forget that one. Fewest goals scored in the season, 42. The worst was 49 back in 2015-2016. And this is the one that really astounds me. The winless streak, 8 games. The worst ever was back in 1992, which was the year after they won the Super Cup against Barcelona. I believe it was Barcelona. Yeah, in Rotterdam in 1991. And this is the most alarming of all of them. Look at that. Manchester United have failed to win successive league games all season. Now that is a first and an unwanted record that every player and Ruben Amorim himself will not want on his CV. That's horrible. But then just not to completely feel like we're shitting on Manchester United. Look at Spurs, right? That, by the way, is that who I think it is? Is that, where's he gone? Is that Juande Ramos? Yeah, I think it is, isn't it? Yeah, it is, look. Yeah, it is Juande Ramos. Juande Ramos, by the way, was the last Tottenham coach to win any silverware. That was in 2008. That was in the League Cup in a game against Chelsea. where they won 2-1. I believe it was an extra time. Anyway, that same season, though, when they only managed 46 points, but they still won some silverware. Here, look. Their League Cup final victory over Chelsea at Wembley remains the club's most recent piece of silverware. 1996-97 season. Is that... Oh, it's Alan Nielsen, the Danish midfielder. There's Teddy Sheringham with an interesting hairband. That was 1996-97, 46 points. That was Jerry Francis's side, bless him. Bless him. Spurs never won more than 2 league games on the bounce. There you go. And Teddy Sheringham led the club's scoring charts with just 8 goals. That's across all competitions. So a bit of a miserly season, a bit of a St. Pauli that year. And then, I'm not doing this deliberate, I swear, 2003/04, when one part of North London was seeing red, was going invincible, well, the Lily Whites of Tottenham had a pretty dark red, almost crimson blood-like performance. Just 45 points that season. I believe we did win the title at Spurs as well, one year. And in 97-98, yep, that is Klinsmann, ex-Stuttgart, into West Germany World Cup winner in 1990. Did also coach the USA men's national team. Yeah, steady run to the end of the season meant they beat the drop. I mean, can you believe that? With some ease, but their 44-point haul remains Spurs' lowest ever in the 38-game season, and the worst, and they're having to adjust it because at the time there was 22 teams in the Premier League, and we know that because in our sticker opening, unpacking video series that we also do, and we will do again soon because I've got some Bundesliga stickers to unpack. There were 22 clubs in that sticker album from that same season. So yeah, Spurs ended the 42-game season with 45 points, 1.07 points per game, an average it works out of 40.07 over 38 games. Terrible. Anyway, we need to get this back on track. So let's get this back on track to the Europa League final, formerly the UEFA Cup, of which Spurs have won twice. So in the build to this final, they've played 14 games, won 9, drawn 3, lost 2. In the semi-final, they beat the Norwegian Cup specialists, Bodo Glimt. Great season for Bodo Glimt. Clap that one in, please. They'd also beaten, FC 20, Roma, Lazio, big teams along their path to the semi-final. But yeah, Tottenham scored 27 goals, conceded 13. And I just want to bring you back to here, and this is a valid point, which will support my prediction at the end, which we're jumping around, I suppose, but this is in the Premier League with 1 game to go, 37 games played. Tottenham have only drawn 5, lost 21. My point here is, let's have a look again. Scored 63 goals, shipped 61. So, good day. Big Angie's philosophy, this gegenpressing style of a high press, win the ball back, quick turnover, get it out wide, put the balls into the middle and hope that someone running into the box or Dominic Solanke will do the work for us and score the goals. That's great going forward, but what happens when you lose the ball? Because that high press, Mickey van der Ven and Guti Romero and, bless him, Pedro Porro on one side, it's either been Jed Spence or Destiny and Dogi. That back four gets caught out with that high line, anyone can get around the back of him and you're in, right? So that's probably one of the reasons why they've shipped 61 goals. And if we have a contrast that with Manchester United, by the way, in their 14 games, they're unbeaten. Yes. Again, look at the Premier League. Manchester United have lost 18 games, but they haven't, crucially, lost a single game in the Europa League. They've actually scored 35 goals, conceded 18, but they've scored 35, kept 3 clean sheets, which is, I think, it's going to prove very significant. Now, if we look at, for what it's worth, the head-to-heads between the two sides, most recently you can see Tottenham have got the wood over Manchester United. What's that? They've won the last 3. There's been a draw. I mean, you have to go all the way back to October 22 to pinpoint a Manchester United win. That was 2-0 at the Theatre of Memes at Old Trafford. Otherwise, I mean, that was a League Cup game. That was a ding dong, wasn't it? Ding dong. That was a ding dong of a game. But actually, and I'm going to say this now, and feel free to clip it. I would liken trying to predict this game to go into a casino. I've only been to a handful of casinos in my time. I like the roulette because, and this is a line you often hear in films, you walk up, there's some numbers, you go, put it all on red. Because there's only two colours to pick from, right? It's red, there's black, there's a bunch of numbers. My favourite number is 23. Stick it all on red or stick it all on the black one and then you wait for the fateful spin and you either go big or you go home with the shirt off your back. This is the same, right? Forget all this, I reckon. Forget the previous results. Some people have referred to this on social media, because we still use X, as El Sacchio, right? So no matter what happens... even if Big Ange in his second year, because remember, he wins trophies in his second year, there's this unbelievable outcome where if Big Ange beats Manchester United, beats Ruben Amorim, he could still beat them and then get fired, which would be insane to the membrane. I doubt that Ruben Amorim would get fired, although, let's put another way, what happens next after this final for the losing team could be just catastrophic. I think it'd be meltdown. I mean, arguably, Manchester United need to be rebuilt anyway, because Amorim, don't forget that quote, we are the worst version of Manchester United in their entire history. He claims he hasn't got the players. Feels like the data, the results back that point up, even though they've spent a shitload. Tottenham, they've spent a lot of money too, probably more on that big ground of theirs. And they've got some injuries going into this, but I think the squads, if you stack them together apples for apples, which we're trying to do to make sense out of all this, arguably Tottenham are in a better position. They've got a better, higher quality of squad, even though there's more experience in that Manchester United team through the likes of, and let's dig into that right now with the probable lineups. It feels like there's more experience in this Manchester United team to get the job done. Bruno Fernandes, Casemiro, Harry Maguire, Hull City at the back, Onana. Don't forget, for all his clownery and all the buffoonery of this season, this is the same guy that's played in a Champions League final for Inter. Right, don't forget the experience that he's got. He is an outstanding shot stopper. He's also liable to drop his concentration levels. Anyway, these are the probable lineups. This is according to FOTMob, and again, there are some injuries for both sides. More for Tottenham. Tottenham. You can see it here. Look, Tottenham are missing their number 10 in James Maddison. What a slick darts player. He's missing James Maddison and missing Dejan Kulusevski, the Swede, who's contributed with goals as well as assists this season. Dragusin, he's been a bit hit and miss at the back. The big one's Lucas Bergvall, right? And we can jump to that. This is Lucas Bergvall. He's only 19, central midfielder. 4 caps for Sweden. Played for all the under age groups as well. Look, from under 15, 16, 17s, 19, 21s, and then the adult team, the men's team proper, 4 times. So he's got experience. This chap has played in the Premier League this season 27 times. No goals, 1 assist. In the Europa League, 12 appearances, 3 assists. Has also played in the Cups, the Caribou. Yeah, when they got all the way. They got hammered by Liverpool, I recall. Was it 6-3? Some sort of bizarre, almost a casino type game, right? Anyway, he will be very much missed this evening, or tomorrow evening, I should say. That was the last time that was the game against Frankfurt. Obviously, I picked that out because we are a Bundesliga channel first and foremost. This was in the away win when Solanke scored the penalty. Bergvall played on the right. 7.3. 7.6 for a certain Pedro Porro. And again, I've mentioned him because we did a video, link in the description down below, where we were exploring options for the big Braymon Vincent Kompany at right back. Yes, you've got Josip Stanisic, but it feels like he's more comfortable playing in as a centre back. And don't forget, when he was out on loan at Leverkusen last season, actually I need to say the season before that, I don't know going forward, but anyway, the season of the Invincible year under Xabi Alonso. Stanisach was on loan at Leverkusen, played in centre-back, won the title. Thank you very much. Thank you, good night. So that means that King Conrad Lehmer's been playing at right-back. He's a midfielder, but he's a utility guy. He's very comfortable. Rafael Guerrero's had a go playing there as well. They've got Sacha Boey. Our prediction is that Sacha Boey should send him back to Galatasaray, initially on loan, and then cut some sort of deal whereby you don't quite lose a lot of money, but you won't probably break even. And then bring in someone like Pedro Porro, who, just for the record, in the Premier League this year, 32 appearances, 2 goals, 6 assists. That makes him the highest assist contributor from right back in the Premier League. Yeah, 6 assists on right back. We can indeed clap that one in. Back to these potential predicted lineups. Oh, sorry, Manchester United, let's cover them. So Dalot is injured, although there are rumours, and if you watch, what's his name? Mark, not Kattenberg. It was the guy from the Manchester United channel. If you follow Mark Goldbridge, then apparently he broke the news on the weekend that Diego Dalot is going to be available to play for Manchester United in this Europa League final. Martinez is also out injured. So is De Ligt, ex-Ajax player. And in Xerxes, been a big miss because, despite the fact he's had an up and down season in the Premier League, he has contributed to that 37 goal tally in the Europa League. Anyway, this is the potential starting lineups. You can see it on the screen, but I can do it quickly if you end up being listening. Well, you end up being an audio listener and you've got this on a podcast. So, potential, let's do Spurs first. I know he favours a 4-2-3-1. That can be moulded into a 4-3-3. This is, g'day, we're talking about Big Ange. And because he's missing key players, it is likely that Big Ange will go with a 4-3-3. So, Vicario at the back. You've got a back four. We'll go on the right first. It's that man, Pedro Porro, as a right fullback. Left fullback, Destiny and Dogi, who's got international experience as well, playing for Italy. He played against Die Mannschaft in the UEFA Nations League quarter-final, and Dogi's having a great season, by the way. Despite the fact that they've shipped 61 goals, he's having a great season, personally. Then you've got Mickey van der Ven, who's fast as fuck, isn't he? A bit like Danny da Costa at Mainz. You got, Mickey van der Ven, and then Guti Romero, who's a World Cup winner, don't forget, with Argentina. That's your back centre-back pairing. Then, instead of it being a double pivot, let's go 4-3-3. You'd have Yves Bissouma on the right, Papa Sarr on the left, and then you'd have Benton Kerr playing in the middle of that midfield. So at least that 3 would be going up against... Well, you've got potential destroyers of Sarr and Bissouma going up against Ugarte and Casemiro from Man United. Anyway, then to finish off that attacking 3, it would be Brennan Johnson on the right with Heung-min Song on the left, and then Dominic Solanke playing as the striker in a 4-2-3-1. And I saw this on, and I don't know what came over me, but I was watching Tottenham Hotspur TV just to get an idea, just disclaimer, just to get an idea. Of course I'm objective, of course I'm neutral. Just to get an idea of what the punters, what their content creators felt their lineup should be. And in their 4-2-3-1, they had Solanke playing in the 10 with Richarlison playing as the striker, and everything else is pretty much the same, to be honest. I think the only difference was that they had Sarr and Bissouma playing again as that double pivot. So that, then maybe it was. Yeah, then what would you do with Benton Kerr? Yeah, it's a good point. Anyway, we're not Anjawi, right? So that is your potential 4-3-3 lineup for Tottenham. And then for Manchester United, Manchester Global, Mr. Jim Ratcliffe, who's cutting corners in left, right and centre. He's trying to squeeze what he can, squeeze the life out of that club financially. And again, I only make that point because this was quite interesting here, that as part of the cost-cutting exercises driven by Jim Ratcliffe's Ineos Group, ESPN reported that Amorim had to pay for Amorim, the fucking manager of Manchester United, out of his own pocket, mind you, it's probably deep enough, had to pay for 30 members of his backroom staff to have 2 tickets each for family and friends to attend their game in Bilbao due to the club refusing to foot the bill. In contrast, PSG announced earlier this month that they will pay for all 600, that's the janitors and the dog walkers and everybody else, all 600 club employees to attend the Champions League final against Inter in Munich on May the 31st. Wow. Okay, well, that's not... Well, actually, it's a moot point, right? So I believe, if you win this tournament, I'm sure the prize money is something like 8 million euros. And actually, of course, the bigger... The silver lining or the holy grail of it all, and what both these clubs are fighting for, is that if you win the Europa League, you automatically qualify for the Champions League next season. An entry level for the Champions League, just qualifying alone, nets you 18.6 million euro. That's just for qualifying, right? So 18.6 million's up for grabs. I recall off the top of my head, it's something like 2 million euro for a win. 700,000 euros for a draw. So it's 18 million to qualify for the Champions League. For the Europa League, if you qualify for it next season, which a bunch of teams in the Premier League and obviously Freiburg, SC Freiburg in the Bundesliga have for next season. From the Bundesliga, qualifying for the Europa League is 3.9 million euro. It's something like 500,000 for a win if you win a game, 700,000 if you win a game, and then you split the money if you draw, so you walk away with 250,000 for a draw. And I'm sure the prize money for the Europa League, like I say, is about 8 million euros. So it's not chump change, but it's that qualifying for the Champions League that's going to net you the Reddies. 18.6 million up for grabs, and potentially all those add-ons. If you win the games, it's 2 million euro for a win. So there's a lot at stake, especially for a guy like Sir Jim Ratcliffe. Back to this team then. Right, so predicted lineup for Manchester United is Onana in goal. We're going 3-4-2-1 or 3-4-3 because Ruben Amorim's wedded to this 3 at the back. Apparently they've got Lenny Yoro here, the Frenchman, with his very unique pipe cleaner hair on the left of a back 3. You got Victor Lindelof. I do like him, actually. He's been a long servant, right, the Swede. He's on the right-hand side. You got Harry, ex-Harry McNugget as the centre-back. Now, he's come up with some very important goals, including being played up front, right, at one point in their previous game against Lyon. You got a midfield 4 of Patrick Durgu. He came from France, right? Was it Lens? Was it Reims? Was it someone like that? Anyway, he's on the left. You got Mazraoui on the right. Again, no idea still why FC Bayern Munich sold him, because he's the answer to all your problems at right back. They sold him for what, 15 and was it 18 million euros, somewhere in that bracket. And yeah, okay. Props to the big brain one. Won the Bundesliga, lifted the Meisterschale on that balcony at Mariannaplatz on Sunday in front of all those thousands of giddy FC Bayern fans. Won the Meisterschale in his first season, however, struggled with the right-back position. Mind you, they scored 99 goals and he conceded 39, so not all bad, right? But it's in the Champions League where Mazraoui's experience would have been absolutely golden. Anyway, he's in this final. And then there's the midfield 2. There's your destroyer-type box-to-box options with Casemiro, who's really hit form. Feels like he's going for a renaissance in the Europa League. Casemiro next to Ugarte, who's he's feisty, isn't he? The ex-PSG player. And then what do you do here? Well, the forecast here, or the probable lineup here, is Bruno Fernandes, who's carried this Man United team. And I say that this season. Look, let's have a look at his numbers. In the Premier League alone, he's got 8 goals and 9 assists. In the Europa League, he's come up with 7 goals and 4 assists. And then if you look at the data, thanks statmuse.com, this is most assists in the Premier League. He does sit in 8th, look, with 9 assists this season. But most importantly, most through balls. Look at that, 10. Most through balls in the Premier League, 10. Actually, there is also James Maddison, who's got half of that on 5. Then again, James Maddison has been out injured for quite a while, so let's cut those guys some slack. Most key passes in the Premier League, that belongs to Bruno Fernandes. At least it does with one more game to go, with 79 key passes. And then the most saves, just because I was interested at who's going to keep it tidy at the back. You've got Andre Onana with 90 saves. And then Vicario on 64. 90 implies that defence is pretty shaky. They're not blocking everything, right? They're not doing what, what's his name, Manica does for Heidenheim, or a Cine Lynam for Werder Bremen, or a Tom Bischoff did for Hoffenheim, and he will be doing for Munich, for FC Bayern Munich next season, which is blocking and tackling and intercepting. Anyway, Bruno Fernandes there has been carrying this Manchester United team this season, and this probable lineup has him playing as a number 10 alongside Amad, who again, what a player he is, right? There he is, Amad Diallo, who's only 22 from the Ivory Coast, having a great season. Premier League, 7 goals, 6 assists. Europa League, where he's only played 10 times, 5 of those off the bench. 2 goals, 1 assist. Here he is, look, having the time of his life. Absolutely. And you can see how he's got better. Look at this season on season, look. This season, 25 games, 9 the year before. There's a lot of experience up and down, well, the pyramid structure, and all over Europe. Anyway, what a season he's having. He's been put alongside Fernandes, and they're all trying to squeeze a goal at Erasmus Højlund, doing their best they can there to try and make the magic happen. And having a quick look at Tottenham's numbers and key players. Here's Brennan Johnson, look, Premier League, 11 goals, 3 assists. So that's 14 goal involvements in the Premier League. In the Europa League, 4 goals, very important, 1 assist. And then Dominic Solanke, he was bought for, and I just wanted to confirm that, €64 million from Bournemouth. And what does €64 million get you? In the Premier League, this feels a bit harsh. 26 appearances, 8 goals, 3 assists. Not much going off in the FA Cup because they were knocked out. Caribou Cup, 4 appearances, 2 goals, 1 assist. Europa League, right? This is where it's happening, because this is the reason, along with Brennan Johnson and the likes of Mickey van der Ven and Guti Romero at the back. 12 appearances for Dominic Solanke in the Europa League at the 14 games they've played so far. 5 goals, 4 assists, and 9 goal involvements. That is pretty damn good. So let's have a look at these data points as well from Twitter. Casemiro never lost a European final. Garnacho never went trophyless with Man United, but of course he's not. Well, in this probable 11, they've gone with Diallo, Amad over Garnacho. Garnacho, as I was listening to Michael Talks Football, another great content creator, his point, along with Mark Goldbridge, is with Garnacho, you might get a great performance every 2 weeks, every 2 months. It's consistency, and that's what Diallo's delivered this season, which is consistency. Look at that, 7.14 rating in the Premier League and a 6.92 in the Europa League. And Kobe Mainoo had never had a trophyless season either. Big Ange, it's what it is, mate. Big Ange has never gone trophyless in his second season. We'll get to that quote in a minute. And Andre Onana has lost every single European final that he's played in. Here you go, look, there's Big Ange. I really hope this doesn't come back to bite him. I won't do the voice then. I guess my mistake was answering a question accurately, which of course was he only wins things in his second year. And it's proof of that, by the way. At Celtic, look, he's only there. He won 5 trophies. 5 trophies in Scotland in 2 years. In the J-League, he won the title for Yokohama F. Marinos in his second year. In Australia, he guided the Socceroos to the Asian Cup in his second year. That's the national team, by the way, the Socceroos. And who's captain of that Socceroos team? Jackson Irvine, St. Pauli destroyer in the middle, although he's currently out injured. We wish him a quick recovery. And again in Brisbane Roar, and right, you get my point, right? Okay, so in his second year, he does win a lot. But then again, look at Ruben Amorim. This is his final record. So his record in cup finals, of which he's been involved in 7. He's had 4 wins, and that includes where is it here? The Taça de la Liga trophies, equivalent to Portugal's League Cup. 2 of those while in charge of Sporting, 1 as manager of Braga, and he's lifted Portugal's Super Cup as well in 2021. So in 7 cup finals, he's won 4, lost 3. So that's Ruben Amorim's record. And I suppose when it comes down to it, the question you're going to want to know is, where do we think this game's going to end up? Our prediction then is this. We believe, well, I was torn. It was either going to be Manchester United will nick it 1-0 and it'll be quite an early goal within the first 15 minutes, and they'll sit back and just be really dull and boring and stifle the life out of the game, or it'll be a goal fest like it was in the Carabao Cup game back in December when Tottenham won 4-3. I just feel there's more cup final experience, be it domestic and in Europe, within this Manchester United team. Don't forget they got to the final of this same tournament in 21. All right, they lost out to Villarreal. Who was managing Villarreal? Old Dracula, old Urai. Good evening. Old Unai Emery, he's getting the last laugh at the minute there, wasn't he, with Aston Villa. Well, he ruined Arsenal's season last year, didn't he? Villa had the wood over Arsenal, and those 6 points would have actually won the title for the other team from North London, Arsenal. So yeah, Manchester United lost the Europa Cup in 21 against Villarreal. That was that 11-10 or something wild on penalties. Of course, United did win it in 2017, I recall. That was under the special one, right? That was under Mourinho. That was against Ajax, not managed at the time by Erik ten Hag, but by Peter Bosk. That was a 2-0 win. And of course, they've been to other Champions League finals as well. So I think there's a lot of cup final experience, both domestic and European level, just to pull Man United through this game. So yeah, it could have been, we were toying with 1-0. I don't think there's going to be a lot of goals. It's going to be a goal fest. Yeah. And Tottenham are going to have to wait yet again. And it would have been probably unbearable, as it will be for Manchester City fans who, are going to end up with no silverware and have to look across at the red side and look at that bus parade come through Manchester when they win this one. Yeah, it would have been unbearable for Arsenal fans for Tottenham to have won a European trophy in the modern day before Arsenal did. Anyway, that's our prediction. We think Manchester United will win this in a goal fest 3-2. All in 90 minutes, by the way. No extra time, no penalties. That result is in 90 minutes. That seems quite bold, doesn't it, Gonzo? Yeah, and we feel that's quite bold. What do you think? What's your prediction for the Europa League final? El Sacico, 2 managers under a lot of pressure, right? One might win and still get the sack. What do you think the score will be? You know the drill by now. There's a comment section down below with your name on it. Just put it in there. Just give us a prediction. It's very simple. It's 3 characters. What will it take you? 5 seconds? You could type the whole names out if you want. It might take you 10 seconds. But yeah, have a think about it, but don't think too long. And while you're at it, have a think about liking this video, smashing that like button. Yeah, smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel, because then you'll know, well, when our reaction video, because of course, for every reaction, there's a reaction. We're going to react to this final in the coming days. And then we've got a watch-along coming on the weekend for the DFB Pokal, which is the equivalent of the domestic English FA Cup final. It's the German Cup final on Saturday, May 24th in Berlin. It's going to take our breath away. It's going to be awesome, because if Arminia Bielefeld from the Dritte Bundesliga, from the 3rd league, managed to beat VfB Stuttgart, think of it as Wickham versus Manchester Actually, not Manchester City. Think of it as Wickham playing... Who was Stuttgart this year? Brentford. Oh, actually, that's probably taken the wind out of it. Anyway, it's a team from 2 leagues below. If they win it, it'll be history. It'll literally... They're writing their name into the history books. If Stuttgart win, well, they end up in the Europa League next year. And don't forget, there's at least €4 million up for grabs just for qualifying for that tournament. It's going to be brilliant. So again, if you subscribe, you'll know when that video comes out. And then finally, tell your friends, won't you? Tell your classmates, tell your workmates, tell your familiar when you're out and about and in with a shout. Let people know. Send them our way to the German Football Spotlight channel. Everyone's welcome here. It's a safe space. Real men cry too. There'll be lots of tears, no doubt, at the full-time whistle. But is it going to be Spurs? Is it going to be Manchester Global tears? We'll have to wait and see, won't we? But join us with that. Comments, leave your comments down below. We're going now. Auf Wiedersehen. Enjoy the football. Ciao, ciao, ciao. Ciao, ciao, ciao.